everyone. From today, we are going to continue with the chapter which is breathing and exchange of gases. The part one has done, and in the past one, we have talked about some very basic things like breathing, respiration, respiratory organs, some of the organisms which have the respiratory organ. Let me just revise it for you. We have talked that breathing mechanism can vary from organism to organism, and because of their habitat, depending on their habitat and their level of organization. Like for example, the lower invertebrates like sponges, coelenterine platforms have simple diffusion, whereas earthworm have moist cuticle. It respire from its cuticle, and insects have a network of tubes, and that's what the tracheal tubes, and through this tracheal tubes the insects respire. And we have talked about lungs, like the pulmonary respiration. It happens in the oh sorry we gills have been left behind, and gills. Many of the aquatic arthropods like mollusks and fishes have gills for their respiration as a respiratory organ, and many of the terrestrial forms just us, the reptiles, birds and mammals have lungs for as their respiratory organ. And last but not the least, frogs have the moist skin also, and it basically respires from that only. From today, we are going to start with the human respiratory system, and it is very simple if you will try to make it easily. It is very simple, and you will learn it very easily for sure. Okay, so we have one nose, but in the external nose there is two openings. Okay, we have two openings. Change the color pen of the color of the pen. Okay, so we know that our external nose have two openings. Okay, we have two openings. This is not looking good. What should I pick? Okay, so we have two openings in our nose. Okay, now this is looking guys nice. uh, Above our upper lips, above our lips we have our nose. This is very basic. Okay, it leads to okay. So how it happens, we have external. I will write it for you so that you will learn it very easily and you will find it very easy manner. Okay, we have external. No, sorry for the bad handwriting, guys. Then it goes through our nasal passage. Nasal passage. It goes to the nasal chamber. Nasal. What is this? Okay, let me just spell. समझा दूँ. Okay. So how it happens, from our external nose, it goes to the nasal chamber through the nasal passage. Okay, and the chamber has pharynx. Then it goes to our larynx. Larynx is the cartilaginous box. It we also called as the sound box, from where the sound production happens, and it is also therefore called as the sound box because it is that cartilaginous box from where the sound produces. Okay, and trachea, then it moves on to trachea, and we also have like this. This is our larynx. This is epiglottis. What is it called? Epiglottis. Epiglottis helps the food material or the so that it will not move on to our windpipe. Okay, the food particle will not move into onto our food pipe. That's why this is like flap like structure. It opens and closes when needed, so that there will be no exchange of food from the food exchange of food. The food will not move on to our sound box. Move on windpipe. It protects from that. Okay, so that is like when we swallow, the glottis can cover the thin cartilaginous flap called as epiglottis to prevent the entry of food into the larynx. Okay, this is for what? This is to prevent the food from entering the larynx. Okay, this is very important role of epiglottis, otherwise the food would have go to the larynx, and it may lead to conflicts, or it may lead to any harm for our body. Next it says that trachea extend to the mid thoracic cavity. Mid thoracic cavity तक वो extend करता है. उसके बाद trachea दो में डिवाइड हो जाता है. ठीक है, डिवाइड कहाँ होता है? फिफ्थ लेवल ऑफ थोरेसिक वर्टिब्रे. फिफ्थ लेवल ऑफ थोरेसिक वर्टिब्रे पे ये क्या होता है? डिवाइड हो जाता है. कहाँ पर होता है? फिफ्थ लेवल ऑफ थोरेसिक वर्टिब्रे. तो अपने पास ये ट्रैकिया था. ट्रैकिया एक स्ट्रेट ट्यूब होता है. ठीक है, ये फिफ्थ मिड थोरेसिक कैविटी तक होता है, एक्सटेंड करता है, और फिर बाद में फिफ्थ थोरेसिक वर्टिब्रे पे क्या हो जाता है? डिवाइड हो जाता है. फिफ्थ थोरेसिक वर्टिब्रे, guys, please learn it. This divides at the fifth thoracic vertebrae. fifth thoracic vertebrae fifth thoracic vertebrae fifth thoracic vertebrae पे अपना ट्रेकिया स्ट्रेट ट्यूब होता है, मिड थोरेसिक कैविटी तक जाता है, और कहाँ पर? फिफ्थ थोरेसिक वर्टिब्रे पे वो डिवाइड हो जाता है. किस किस में? राइट और लेफ्ट ब्रोंकाई में. राइट और लेफ्ट ब्रोंकाई में वो डिवाइड हो जाता है. उसके बाद हर ईच ब्रोंकाई then divides to form secondary and tertiary bronchi. First we have primary, then we have secondary, then we have tertiary bronchi, and the bronchioles then it goes to form the thin terminal bronchioles. And then after the bronchiole we have what? We have our alveoli. Alveoli is like thin irregular walled vascularized bag which contains a large number of blood capillaries. And alveoli is very important as the air, as the gas which we inhale, like the air we inhale, get diffused into our blood through the alveoli. It diffuse because alveoli is like this. It is very irregular walled vascularized bag. Okay, from here it is surrounded by a large number of blood capillaries, so the air from here get diffused into the blood capillaries, and the blood in which what? In which hemoglobin is present, is the one who transports the what? Air from our to our different tissues and different cells of the part, and from where the O2 is supplied. Okay, after the respiration CO2 gets produced, and then CO2 gets thrown out in the atmosphere from the same mechanism, from the same backward mechanism. Okay, so this is the diagram. Okay, this is the diagram. Okay, and very important diagram, you have to learn it. This is epiglottis, this is larynx, this is trachea, from this is the epiglottis. This is the flap which actually prevents the food from entering the larynx. Okay, it prevents. Then from larynx, from the sound box, what is it? This is a sound box. Then it goes to the trachea. Then it gets in the fifth thoracic cavity. It gets divided into two, left and right bronchi. Then left and right bronchi, then it get converted into bronchioles, and from the primary bronchi, then secondary, then tertiary. Okay, then it gets converted into bronchioles, and there is alveoli. And one more thing, we have the pleural membrane. Lungs get covered with the double layered membrane which is called as the pleural membrane, in which the fluid is filled, called as the pleural fluid. This is alveoli, and bronchiole. This is diaphragm, and this is the cut end of rib, and bronchus, lungs. So this is our respiratory system. Diaphragm is a dome-shaped, dome-shaped sheet-like structure, and it is called as diaphragm. Dorsally means backward, from the back side. Ventrally means from the front side. So in the front we have sternum. In the front side we have sternum. In the dorsally we have the vertebral column, and laterally we have ribs, and also we have the dome shaped diaphragm.